All right. Good morning. Um, so I am streaming right now. I don't think I'm gonna be in the comment section. So if anyone, well, should probably include that in the title because people are probably gonna join a little later. But it's a lot easier for me to record, I guess, when I stream it. And I like to record my trading sessions, but I haven't been doing that because it takes a lot of space. It was always easier to record and I would go live. Um, so I am live again, but let me see if it works. Yes, it does. Alright, so because of that, I don't know if I'll be in the comment section. Maybe, but if I'm looking to trade, I'd rather not. Alright, let's get into just my analysis ahead of the opening. And so I said I want price to reach the buy side. I will trade around that, and whichever direction I-30 takes, if it runs higher, then I'll look to turn that buy side draw into a short. Otherwise, price provides a retracement. I will look to buy for another delivery premium. So we've had the second scenario where price delivers to seems like a discount. There's a couple levels in the daily chart. I'm no longer looking at like the daily order block. Yesterday I was looking at this candles constant encroachment and 25% level in between that, and I was looking to be a buyer um, at the around from the 50% to the 25% today, and we just kind of took off all day. So we're not probably not going to get that. I mean, I very much doubt price is going to make its way down there. Let me move my midnight open. The overlay I have on the chart right now is quarterly theory, quarterly cycles. I don't trade quarterly theory. It's a lot easier for me to break down the sessions and to see that kind of stuff like this. So there's that. But I'm not too confident and comfortable in trading right now because we had a huge London expansion. Um, but I have sort of things that I want to see, and if they play out, then I will look to trade. Um, One thing that could be worth noting is the gradient levels. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just adjust that. I'm going to remove that from the lower time frames so things are clear. And yeah. So now let's take off quarterly theory. Now things just look cleaner. Um, that hourly fair value gap, obviously, I'd like to leave the one down here at 1 a.m. as a breakaway gap, and we don't go back into it. So the fact that we're rejecting this pretty rapidly is a good sign. And I'd like, I always look for a breaker setup, so I don't see that right now. It's just very quickly kind of rejecting out. So we'll wait for some kind of breaker formation, but we might not get that. It's possible we inverse and we just immediately start to go higher. In the meantime, while price is kind of moving around, setting up, I'll be doing some reading. So that's what I'm doing on my other screen. I'm including the camera because I I want to see my facial, I guess, expressions and how I'm what I'm doing when I'm in a trade. If I get into a trade today, um, and again, it's just much easier for me to have the recording available for me to watch. Oh, hello, Neko. What's up? I am I am doing okay. A little surprised by the price action, but yeah, I was saying at the very beginning of the stream, I'll usually, you know, I always record my sessions, but when I record my, I don't like to keep them very long because, it takes up a lot of space, and I don't want to put them on the cloud. YouTube has basically unlimited cloud if I upload them there, and I can't upload them to Discord. So YouTube is just much easier. You don't expect higher time frame bullishness or the open range. No, I do. Um, Higher time. I am bullish today. Um, there is the opening range gap. I mean, the London expansion, I didn't expect it. I was trying to be long in Asia. I was trying to position myself. Oh my god. Let me use this keyboard. I have two keyboards. I was trying to position myself inside last night on a just a challenge account. I usually don't trade Asia, not my live one. But I was trying to position myself at 50%, between 50% and 25%, and the Asia price action didn't really look the best. It was kind of like just I had, this doesn't really look very good. I had a long around here at 8, and then it came back. I moved up my stop and profit, and then it consolidated some more until London. And I wouldn't have been able to anticipate that. So, but I did want to see my analysis, which I showed. I see there's a lot more people that just entered. So this was my initial analysis. I want price to reach up to buy side and trade around that in whichever direction 930 takes. So basically, if it goes higher to buy side off 930, it makes like a premium Judas swing. And I would look to convert that into a short. Otherwise, it can retrace, and I'd look to long. Right. So that's my two sort of scenarios, and we've obviously gone the second one where we've retraced first off 930. And I'm ready to, go long. There's no breaker. I always like to see a breaker, but I'm aware, like, that's an order block that have been bought. There's a small fair value gap there that can been bought. Inverse fair value gaps too. But I just want to see that breaker. I do like too how the S&P and hopefully the Dow are lining up. Lining up it up. So actually, the Dow doesn't really look that good. It's okay though. The Dow is usually never lining up actually. Kind of, but it's not really animated to the downside. As long as the S&P and the Nasdaq are correlated. Like yesterday, this was not the case. Yesterday, if you were trying to long on the Nasdaq, which I was initially, it wouldn't have been on the Nasdaq. You would have wanted to take it. It would have been on the S&P. So I like how they're both sort of moving quite nicely with each other. Oh, I mean, with the London expansion, yeah, like I was just surprised with the London expansion because I mean, not what 9:30 is opening, but just like with just out of nowhere 1:30 a.m. or actually like 1 a.m. Not even a 3 a.m. or anything. It's just immediately started spooling higher. And it was very surprising. The purple levels I have here are a weekly fair value gap. So it's running from, right, there's a couple different ones. Oh no, these are all the same. Okay. So 0% down here is the low and then the high up here. And you have 50% right there. I mean, the midnight open's so far below here. Like, I would much prefer shorting just because of how far above we are in midnight open, which is why I'm very, very careful taking longs. Because it's not necessarily against my rules, but it's very good practice to short. I'm looking for, there you go. I want to delete that. It's showing up on my scale. It's very good practice to short above midnight open and long beneath midnight open. So the fact that we're way above midnight open, I don't know. Yeah, very elongated. It's scary right here to try and frame shorts because they keep setting it higher, and that's obvious from just the London price action. We've already kind of retraced at a discount, but there are other markets that I was looking at that were pretty interesting. Like oil looked pretty good, and the yen looked okay. Oil is sort of like on the there's news. Uh, I think it's tomorrow. There's like a bunch of oil news. Oh no, it's today at 10:30 and 11, and it's kind of like in a consolidation in the past 2 days. So like we had Wednesday kind of reach up and above, and we kind of had today make a Judas swing, and now we could be delivering higher. So the news could send it higher, and it would continue the move lower, and that might be better for tomorrow, the trade. And then there's the yen, which I sometimes trade, but the yen we just kind of took out lots of sell side, and we're rejecting it. We're running into this gap, so here I'd it's hard to find that sort of breaker, but the yen looks a lot better to trade than the Nasdaq, so I will probably be watching both of these. This is Elvis MQU. So this is 1 over USD JPY because then it's the same as the futures. The futures has a lot more volume balances and stuff, so to get a better picture, I just looked at 1 over USD JPY, and JPY USD looks really bad too. So for the yen, like I see the sort of 830 run lower. I'm looking for buy side on the yen back to Asia high potentially, and then there's relative equal highs up here. But there's no like breaker formation down here that I like. So um not my model is just not there. There is on the I guess higher time frame. Like this is low, high, low, low. So then I could look for a 15-minute fair value gap or order block. But this is more of a like position trade. This is like a swing trade that I'd have to hold today and tomorrow. If the yen doesn't want to keep going lower, then I would be buying here off this order block inside this fair value gap, expecting it to become an inverse. So like my model is present, but it's just on a higher time frame that I don't want to trade in. But we'll come back to yen later. Right now, the Dow's still doing its own thing. We have initial move higher, which might have tricked people into longs potentially. So large fair value gap to the downside. And now, if that gets people into shorts, we would have sort of that low, high, lower, low, and that's like a breaker setup. So maybe then it could also fail to make a new low, and it would just be more bullish. Let's stay here till about 10:45, 10:50, and we'll go play some basketball. ICTs and tangents chat. I haven't even looked at any of YouTubers. I haven't been keeping up with any of the drama. I feel like I just don't have, I guess, the patience or something to do that. Like I don't really. I know that I could use the chat as an indicator, but I don't want to try to do that yet. Look at Patrick's live. There's some people saying bear flag. The heck is a bear flag? Oh, yeah. No, but so a lot of people in many different streams are wanting to see it go all the way back down to when they open. So they're buying right here. And it's possible, but I don't I don't trust it. Like I always stick to my initial analysis, and that is, you know, that buy side. So I would not be looking to go short, no matter what. And the way I also look at it is like we had this move up for some reason, right? And I think the fact that we displaced through this entire, this high, we closed way above it, we displaced the way above it. Just kind of, I guess, I'm not really a big fan of going beneath this consolidation. So this is why I'm with the sort of this is not the retracement all the way back down to midnight open. And much where is midnight open? It's not even visible. I think I deleted it by accident, or maybe it's on the other one. Or you can see it. It's just over the new opening gap. What's JPY doing? It still looks like it wants to deliver lower. Hasn't inversed anything yet, or formed any good breakers. So I'm gonna ignore that for now. Nasdaq looks like it might move here, so I want to see it go higher. I'm gonna delete the weekly levels. We reached the 50% constant approach in the weekly fair value gap, so I know it's around here. In the wait a minute, which one is no? This is 75%. Tanja took a short. Oh, don't tell me that. If you tell me what other people are doing, I'm gonna turn off the comments. I'm worried about what I'm doing. It's nice to come in here asking what my analysis is and stuff, but I don't want anybody else's opinion. This is one reason why I'm being careful about streaming, and I don't know. It's the best idea because I don't want anybody else's opinion uh in coming into my trading. I'd like to be a buyer here underneath the down close candle because I'm not going to, but what I wanted, I think maybe there's going to be a more comfortable entry, but what I'm thinking is that price just inverses this gap. I don't really want it to come back and make a new low. And it's not doing that. This could also be a 5 minute candle that turns into an order box, so letting this kind of play out and do its thing might actually be worth it. So you think about the like this right here, the order box setup, right, where we make a little bit of a consolidation due to swing inside that 5 minute candle there, and then we distribute. I'd like to see the same thing. So on a 15 second, we could be sort of seeing some accumulation, which would leave a just regular 5 minute candle that doesn't. I mean, that has wicks both ways, and then we easily kind of gap it higher, overlap it afterwards. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Sometimes I use mitigation blocks, um, but I just breakers is the one I've used for the longest, and always more comfortable with the breaker. This could be a mitigation block right here, because I find that mitigation block leave a little bit of a trend, and it's just harder to, I guess, classify than a breaker. Like a breaker, you can clearly see, like, okay, it really did take liquidity, and it's now displacing away from that liquidity and going into the opposite direction. But when you look at a mitigation block, you haven't taken that liquidity, and it could be a sign that you're even more bearish because you're not willing to go up above the high. But also at the same time, it might be harder to classify properly because or qualify properly because obviously it's it leaves a bit of a trend. So you might be confused: is it sell side or buy side? Still, is it still liquidity or is it a mitigation block? And I don't know. For that reason, I just I always prefer the breakers because I've just been trading those for the longest. That was a nice short. Am I? Yeah, there you go. So 5 minute close. You could create an order block, and we've any price action beneath that down close candle I would like here. And I would consider it very oversold and quality buys, but doesn't mean I'm going to jump in and just buy. Because if I'm wrong and it just continues to go lower, then I'm going to be very offside, right? And so it's a confidence thing. I'd rather wait to see displacement and sort of confirm that I'm on the right side. If we inverse that gap and we do it very quickly, we don't just like slowly just kind of get above it a couple candles, just like one nice pass through it, I'd be willing to buy that strength. What I hate is having to transfer all of my PDRAs and my annotations to Top Step. I wish I could like connect the TradingView accounts. Okay, so I will be buying not yet. Still ejecting gap. Alright, should probably I'd like to get in a little bit underneath this. Right now. Well, so here's the entry. I got in maybe a little bit too early. But I want the bodies to just stay above that gap. I don't want it to take too much time. Take profit. Obviously, I'm framing something a lot higher. I won't be holding it that long, but I want to hold it for at least 30 points, so 120 ticks. Um, I am. I did take a losing trade earlier in the week, so that's why. If I can just get maybe 160, if I can just get 40 points, like I would be more than happy. And it's like $500 net profit for the week, and I might trade tomorrow. So even if I lose tomorrow, I should be fine. But I want it to quickly run through that gap, fill it, and I'll probably start to trim my stop. Like get into profit once it fills that gap. And then this is a nice take profit. This high right there inside that gap, I like that. So if it can do that, then that's fine. But I will be moving my stop up as price starts to run into 30 points and more. So where's the long position? Forgot the journal. I didn't screenshot the entry. It's okay. I have it on my this time. So let me just do. So no, we'll do. But I wrote in my journal that I might close it earlier with the trailing stop if it goes to 40 points. Once it goes to 40 points, so I'm gonna start moving my stop up. But yeah, like ideally, I want this high. That's another high. And then this sort of consolidation here is another area I can kind of like. I don't. It could just retrace, and I don't want to still be in it if it retraces. No, it's just a game of waiting and time. Let me read the comments. ICT has it nice, just pressing the top left buttons. I have to copy everything. Well, yes. By the way, did you put a risk disclaimer? I didn't see it. No, I didn't actually. I have no financial advice in the description, but my risk disclaimer is on my PC, and I'm using my Chromebook right now just because I wanted to stop playing video games a little bit. Just playing a little too many video games on my PC, so I took a break, and I need to probably make a new one actually if I'm going to be streaming. Are you not concerned with the movement of the Dow and overnight? The Dow, I'm almost never concerned with the movement. I mean, at this point, the Dow is almost never in agreement. As what I'm concerned with is the S&P and the Nasdaq. As long as the S&P and the Nasdaq are moving together, I'm they're not like one of them isn't just much stronger than the other, and there's not one that looks weaker and like it wants to go lower like yesterday. Then I'm fine. But the Dow can almost always do its own thing. Like, what is the Dow doing? Yeah, like I don't care what the Dow is doing. It looks ugly. But I think I agree. In the best markets, it should probably be moving with it. Overnight displacement, I was concerned with that. Um, but because there's news, I think that this is just bringing in a lot of volatility, and so you know, sometimes I don't trade the overnight displacement, but sometimes I do, and it's just something to be careful about, really, more than anything. Yeah, I I'm not second guessing my trade. Um, this is all like planned out. Like again, if I when I get up in the morning, I look at the overnight displacement, and it just when it displaces overnight, it makes it harder to find more trades, right? But when in every scenario, what I do is I do an analysis, which I showed here, and if the analysis is right with what happens in price, it's the same thing. Then I look to trade it. Stop is gonna go to break even because it reached 40 points. So I'm gonna start to trail my stop. Well, not maybe not break even, but um, I wanted to kind of break through 40 points so I can put my stop up there. Wait, that's not 40 points. No, no, no. My entry is up there. Okay, this is 40 points. Um, yeah. So what was I saying? I am. Oh yeah, yeah. I do an analysis, and if price lines up with the analysis, then I trade it, right? But oftentimes when we displace overnight, it's a lot harder for me to do an analysis, and a lot harder for most of the time it doesn't do what I expect it to do, which is why oftentimes I just don't trade it. But today, like I would have a pretty good idea of what price would do. Um, I decided to trade it. Why is this? Why am I moving my limit order? Okay, all right. I am going to put my stop up. Probably if it closes up here, maybe like above. At this point, let's just close it. I mean, I closed it because I took a loss earlier in the week, so I didn't want to. Yesterday I took a break even trade, a loss, and then I closed this one early because I didn't want to keep trading. So now we made $600 this week, and that's more than my weekly paycheck. So at my actual job. So now the important thing is like I'm trying not to smile, but the important thing is to remain. Is, first of all, I need to keep watching this to see if it's going to go all the way up here, which is the you know final target. Like pretending if I was still in this trade, what would I be doing? In fact, we could also just paper it. Let's just say I'm still in this, right? How would I feel? And I'd want to see it deliver up to there, and then maybe even displace and continue displacing up above that high throughout the day. But the hardest thing today will be to just remain balanced and control my ego. If I don't tell anyone actually how much money I make. I've told one person, it's my little brother, and he had asked, um, well, not really asked, but we were talking about it, and I was trying to motivate him. But telling people obviously brings other people into trading, which is more of the reason, Neko, why I don't want you to tell me Tangent took a short or ICTs and Tangent's chat. Like there's a reason I don't watch these other people, and it's because I'm trying to focus on my own trading, and not invite other people's trading in there. And when you tell other people how your trading is going, it unfortunately invites other people to your emotions. Like I had this one friend who has no idea what my business is. She just knows I have a business, and I'm not telling her what the business is. I just happen to mention it every now and then. Um, and when she asks about it, I just tell her you wouldn't understand because that's true. Like you tell people what you do, and most of the time they get these ideas, and if they ever hear that you lose money, I mean, they're gonna think all sorts of things, and they're gonna think it's not normal. Like if I came into work and I make maybe $200 at work, right, and that day, and then somebody finds out that I lost $400, they're gonna be like, I actually had this happen before, and the guy's like, why do you do that? Like, oh my god, why do you do that? But why do you just lost $400? To normal people, they can't understand, that it's a necessity, like a business expense. Every business has its own expenses. They buy stuff. And in trading, unfortunately, I have no employees, which is why people don't understand that business because it's like usually they think of a business as a transaction between two people, but trading is literally just a PPP. Like it's me taking money from others. That's literally what I'm trying to do. Like where's the liquidity? And because of that, it's not really robbery, but I mean because of that, it's different. And I will lose sometimes, and that's okay. But I guess most people don't understand that I will lose, and when I lose, you know, they think these thoughts, and it is not healthy for my trading. I wouldn't really want to see or trace here. Like if I'm still in this trade, my stop would probably be underneath this fair value gap here. I probably had moved it up to beneath that fair value gap. And I closed the trade as you saw. Like I was trying to move up my stop, but I wasn't releasing that click button because I didn't want it to retrace and then have it still work. So I said, you know what? This is already three times my usual loss. We're like at 900. Nothing. My average loss is $170. So I made like over 4 RR, right? And it didn't make sense to me why if I'm struggling to take that profit, I don't know if I should take the profit or not. And I'm second guessing and stuff, and I'm not making a decision. I need to either take half off or take close the trade, and that's just how not once during that entire trade did I think I need to take profit until we got to that point, which is four times my loss. Is still a lot, so that's why I just closed the trade. But yeah, like I did leave money on the table. However, like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because with my win rate and the I know that I will be profitable if I get 4 RR, and I know I can do it consistently. Um, ODSD said, Leon, I want to ask after the first push into the initial sell side inside the 50-minute discounted BISI, price started to show respect of premium and disrespect of the discount until it took the low. Hold on, let me read that again. After the first push into the initial sell side of the 15-minute discount. Okay, so 15-minute discount. Could you tell me the time of that one? Because there's a bunch of different ones here. Price started to show respect of premium and disrespect of the discount until it took the low. Again, and from there you took your turtle soup long. My question is, how did you come to the conclusion that price this time would respect this formation of a breaker and start to engulf that presumed lower bow? So the best way by figuring that out is if you rewind, but I explained it all live, but I'm happy to explain it again. That basically when we started to retrace into this 15-minute city, and we started to reject it, I was seeing these fair value gaps here, like over there. I was seeing respect of certain order blocks and fair value gaps, and then I, said that yeah, it's possible price respects these candles and it continues to go higher. This is not funny. Like this, I would close the trade here if I was in this. I'm gonna hold on to it, but I would have closed the trade if I was still in here. And I saw this. Yeah, this is why I wanted to take profit up there too. You see how it consolidated above that high? Is that say forgot the name, but that's like a breakaway gap from here to there, and so price reached into the breakaway gap. This is not the breakaway gap. It's part of that gap is filled, right? But the part of it that's open is considered a breakaway gap, which is why first I wanted to fill this gap, and then I was looking at the more premium, which is up here. So this could just be a smaller tracement and it keeps going, but I mean, I would not. I would if I'm in this and I see it come all the way back down to my entry. It's not funny. I would not be wanting to do that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Where you're saying the 315 low. Let me see what that is. The 315. Okay, that's an hourly fair value gap. Yeah. So I should probably have written that. Sorry about that. That's why. That's a little better now. Should be more clear. So when we drop down into that, first of all, I was already looking to drop down into a discount, and I mentioned how I wanted 1 a.m. to stay as a breakaway gap. I did not want price to go down into the 1 a.m. Gap here, and I preferred it stay above that and leave that as a breakaway gap. So I looked at consequent encroachment of this, which is what it came down to hit. At the same time, I saw that we had an initial run higher, right? So the initial sort of run above, which could form a breaker. I always classify my breakers in green. And that I knew got people into longs. At the same time, too, it started to show very big fair value gaps to the downside. So I knew this would have gotten people into shorts. And I even said here on the 15-second, I had mentioned how this was not a somewhere around here. Oh no, it was down here. Yeah, like throughout this whole area, I was looking at shorts, and I was like, I know people are shorting off of this. The consolidation here, we slightly went above that high into the weak opening gap, and then there was a institutional overflow entry drill back down to these lows. And so I saw this as consolidation, but within this consolidation, when we were seeing these fair value gaps ahead of that, I was talking about how right around 10:06, I was talking about how I wanted price to consolidate and form a 5-minute candle that would become a bullish order block, which is what happened. So you see how on this candle at 10 o'clock, I was thinking of longs when we took this low, but the reason I didn't buy right away turtle soup is because I wanted to see an order block, and I felt like this was too big of a candle, too bearish to actually change order flow and become an order block right away. So then we go to the next candle, and what happens in this candle? We form a bit of a consolidation, which looks like a smaller 5-minute candle that will act as an order block. Because now the volatility comes back after the consolidation, and we easily displace above it to form the order block. The price comes back inside of its wick, the order block, and then it goes higher from there. So I was basically wanting to I mentioned after the formation of this, I said, okay, this is a good order block. And I said that anything underneath its close is very sold. It's in a huge premium, and I would want to be buying it. Okay, yeah, we raise it. I'm just basically explaining my trade. I thought that's what you were asking. I mean, you're asking how did I know they would respect formation of a breaker and start to engulf? That's what I was explaining. All right, 315 low. I understand everything you just said right now, but how come you knew that it was a fake out when 315 low was taken? Because I thought that the sweep on the 15-minute low inside the 15-minute BSC was going to form a breaker. This would be easier if you just call me and show me actually, because you're talking about the hourly low, and when we take the hourly low, the 15-minute low, 315 low, I thought that the sweep on the 15-minute low inside the BIS, which 15-minute BISI was going to form a breaker. Okay. Yeah, you can call right now. Um, I just want to make sure that stream can hear you. Okay, should be good to call. Let me see where I just closed this. Okay. Oh, no. Uh, wait, hold on. You're on my computer instead of my headset. All right, hello? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so far makes sense. So you had switched to a bearish bias? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, smart money got you. Alright, so that's I knew that as the move lower was forming the breaker. If you let me share my screen to you. Oh my god, which one is it? There you go. No, let me close my short or my long. Okay. All right. So now whenever you're ready. Wait. Let me make sure my stream can also hear you. Oh, my stream can't hear you. No. Well, all right. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. So can you hear? It's it's okay. It's okay. They someone is saying you can't hear him. Let me try and fix it while the stream loads. Uh, you might be able to hear him now. Okay, is my stream loading now, or just speak? Still not loading. What the heck? Oh, my Discord stream. You mean? Okay. Yeah. Hold on. They s- they still can't hear you. All right. Whatever. It doesn't matter if you can't hear him. I will refresh. I basically will summarize what he said. So, can you see my stream now? Okay. So when when I was seeing this initial run high, well, first of all, you know, my initial analysis was that I wanted price to either go up the buy side, then go short, or retrace and then go long. So I always stick to my initial analysis, no matter what happens in price. I trade my initial analysis. If my model's there, then I take it. But when I saw price retrace off the 930 open, go into the hourly discount fair value gap. On the higher time frame, we're in a discount, right? So it doesn't matter what's happening on the lower time frame, how many gaps are being hello bear trades. Never seen you, Rob, but welcome. No, it doesn't matter how many PD arrays on the smaller time frame show that we're going to go lower. On the higher time frame, right, the PD arrays are being respected, and so we came down to the constant approach in this hourly gap. I mentioned I wanted 1 a.m. to be a breakaway gap, and if it wasn't reaching into there, it would be pretty bullish. And so we have yet to see the PD arrays on the higher time frame resist price, which is the hourly gap or the order block up here. Right, so that's one. And now if you go down to the lower time frame, if I'm long, I just wait for a short-term low on the 5-minute chart to be taken out in form of breaker. And that's what we had down here. But as we were coming up here and we kind of continued lower, I saw lots of opportunities to go short, like here. And then on the 15-second chart, I was looking inside this consolidation. I was looking at this gap there, and I wanted to inverse all these things and then bring it back up to fill some of the breakaway gaps left inside the consolidation up here, and then eventually this high if it wants to get up there. And it doesn't look like it is really wanting to do that anymore. But so whenever I trade, I always like it when there's people that are taking the other end of my trade, especially if they're ICT traders, right? Because I need liquidity for me to make money. So that's why I trade breakers, because breakers, the best breakers, don't form kind of like all shitty and ugly. They form with nice fair value gaps to the downside on the lower time frame that entice shorts. So as we respected this one, we sort of shown that we were respecting the next one. Go ahead. Which low? 315 is all the way back in London. This one. Okay. And you're saying that when we got down to this, what are you saying? You wanted it to go higher from there? Yeah. Okay, but do you think do you think anyone saw price get beneath this low and then they went short from 20,450 to the low at 20,402 and 50? Like, it's a 2 point difference beneath the low. Do you think anyone went short? If let's say you wanted to go long, you wanted to buy the break of this low, you would need to have convinced, traders, you can call them retail if you want, or just the market. You need to convince the market that we're going to go the opposite direction, and then you buy the low. That's why IST says buy the down close candles, sell the up close candles, because you're selling when everyone's buying and buying when everyone's selling. Because most traders lose money, but it's just the way the markets run liquidity. They go to where the most money is. That's how they are efficiently traded, so that positions can be filled. So if you're looking for pockets of liquidity to be filled, you also want to create liquidity. You're not going to create any liquidity by just slightly going beneath the low, right? Which is why when we had this initial run up, this introduced longs. I'm sure it did. I'm sure a lot of people, if you look hard enough, you're going to find some people buying this move up there. And then you're going to find probably a lot more people selling this when this move started not working. And this is why we introduce liquidity both ways. And so now the markets are more efficient and are able to be traded both directions. And they're able to fill bigger positions, bigger orders. So that's why I wanted to see the breaker. And when we came back down one more time, we're still inside the hourly fair value gap. So from an hourly perspective, we're still respecting the bullish PD arrays. And now we've sort of cleared liquidity. Not only took out the sellers, but now we can take out the buyers, right? And um, then my entry, I was very specific with where I wanted to see price start to go higher, and that's with the formation of the order block that I anticipated. And I wasn't going to do anything until I saw inverse fair value gap, which is what happened there. Inverse fair value gap. comes back into a resistant or support and continues to go higher until the breakaway gap. And now it's just kind of moving around, consolidating. It might be out of. Go ahead. Yeah. No, that's when it's usually the best. Because this this 5 minute breaker is obviously huge, right? It's not just really quick. Sometimes it can be just very close together, and the consolidation isn't really apparent because it's very, very quick. But here, obviously, it's multiple candles and it's clear candles. You're not seeing, any up close candles in between the down close candles and down close candles in between the up close candles. It's very high quality. So usually you want to see clean delivery and one-sided delivery. So if that's the case, you're usually seeing nice order blocks form. So here, what I did on this candle, what I said on the 10 o'clock candle was we took out the low. I want to be buying a total soup, but I don't think it's yet. I don't think it's the time yet. I need more confirmation. And usually, what happens, not always, but we form a consolidation on a lower time frame, like 15-second chart. You can see it very well on the 15-second chart. But on the 5 minute, it just looks like this. It just looks like one small candle where the volatility kind of dials down a little bit and starts to transition. Yeah. And what you see, I've seen ICT say when price, comes up and expands and then creates a down close candle to create a fair value gap or a retracement, and then it continues to go higher. The best time to buy is beneath that down close candle. Right. And not necessarily just inside the fair value gap, but that down close candle when price is from, the opening of the up close candle at 1010 to the low, that's the best spot. And that's something I said like as it happened, like this is where it's the best time to buy, but I didn't want to buy it in case I was wrong and I was very offside. Um, and then I wanted to see an inverse fair value gap instead. Just because it's confirmation, it's makes me feel safer and that's just how I prefer it. But you know, when we are beneath that consolidation, this is basically the exact same thing you see going on with the move up at 935 to 950 inside of the 1005 candle. So we have consolidation. We kind of have the consolidation here with the move higher. We have the Judas swing from 955 down to 1005. And then we have the exact same thing, consolidation Judas swing inside the 1005 candle. So on the 15-second chart, it looks a little bit like a consolidation sideways price action, a sweep on the lows, and then we start to deliver higher to the breakaway gap. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. You always want to see just a consolidation and reasons for traders to not just take the other side of the trade, but also you want to see traders initially take your side of the trade, like your bias, that bias fail, and then you want to see people take the opposite bias. One of the ways I realized this is like at the beginning, I was oftentimes getting stopped out, wicked out. I was going long. Like for example, I would be going long at 944, and then I would get stopped out, and then price would start to deliver a little higher, right? And now, obviously, I kind of realize that that's what price just does. I mean, it makes sure that there's you know people wrong on both ends of the trade before it actually moves. You're welcome. I have to go too. You do. Bye. Okay. Well, sorry no one could hear him. I know that we have to fix that. Um, I have no idea what was wrong, but yeah, you should have been able to hear him, but I don't know. Anyways, that's I guess it for today. It's just not really like it's looking like it's going to continue going lower. We ran up into the PE rate on the 5 minute chart, and now not continuing. So um, it might just be there is a lack of news for the rest of the day, and so there's also news tomorrow. So it might only do it tomorrow, but I don't know. I wouldn't. What I'm saying is I wouldn't really be too confident um, trying to continue longing up to this high, at least for now. It could just start spooling higher, but in the 11 o'clock hour or 12 o'clock hour or in the afternoon. But it's not clear, obviously, because we're just not, you know, moving. We're consolidating. So that doesn't mean I'm bearish, though. I'm not saying I'm okay. Now I want to see lower prices. I'm just saying that because we're consolidating, it's just out of steam and it's not really doing anything significant, anything that would lead me to trust this any one particular direction. But it looks like it is starting to spool a little bit, but maybe it'll keep spooling. Clean up. And one thing I'm noticing is a little bit of a trend. It's building more liquidity here, and that hourly candle is still showing bullish rejection higher, so that's still good. And the 4 hour candle is also a large fair value gap there. We have still another 3 hours to see how that closes. But anyways, that's it for me now. I will be heading off to go play basketball. And thank you for everyone for watching and tuning in.